and welcome to MIC TV. Today, we're going to be discussing how to maintain a positive mindset while you're pursuing your music career. I'm your host, Greg Ferriola, along with my partner, TJ Peterson. Now, if this is your first time joining us, well, on behalf of myself and TJ, we'd like to welcome you to the MIC community. Please say hi in the chat, drop your name, links to wherever you might want us to follow you. We love meeting new artists and want to get to know everyone that's in our community. So please be sure and do that. Even if you're watching the replay, we will go back and check it out. All right. So again, today we're going to be discussing how to maintain a positive mindset, when you're pursuing your music career. Now, becoming a professional artist or band requires you to be proficient in both music and business. And if you've been watching our shows, we talk about that a lot, probably like almost to death, because it's really important to stress those two things. However, there is a third requirement, and that is that you need a certain amount of mental toughness. Pursuing a music career comes with a lot of mental highs and lows, meaning one day you'll feel like you can conquer the world, and the next day you feel like your career is going nowhere. And it's these type of drastic mood swings that are a problem for every musician because they can hold you back from progressing in your career. And I speak from experience. I can clearly remember going through that kind of stuff on a regular basis when I was pursuing my career years ago. And when I first started out, I did what most artists do. I focused all my time on music because that's what I love doing. It's the whole reason why any of us do what we do for. I learned guitar, I took vocal lessons, and I spent a tremendous amount of time writing songs and recording them. And then, one day, kind of going through that process, I would go through these, different mood swings. One day I'd be playing songs and thinking, wow, these sound amazing. And then, 2 weeks later, I'd be playing those same exact songs and I'd just be like, wow, that sounds like absolute crap. Now, nothing about the songs changed in 2 weeks. The only thing that changed was my perspective, which was being driven by, any insecurities or feelings that I had, as an artist. Because when you go through the process of creating original music, there's no one there to tell you whether you've created a good song or a bad one. And even if you've written a good song, there's no way that you're going to please everyone with it because simply people have different musical tastes. So, it's really a subjective thing. That can make the act of creating music in general and sharing it with people extremely stressful, especially when you believe, your future success and happiness essentially depends on the quality of the songs that you create, which, by the way, is not true. There's a lot of things that factor into that. But overall, it's that kind of stress that leads to you feeling insecure and that creates that negative mindset that is a problem for most artists and bands. And those sort of experiences, unfortunately, never stop, as you kind of go through and progress through your career. It's so common to be, from a musician standpoint, again, to be insecure about your voice, maybe the way that you play, your arrangement of the song, the mix you created, the live performance. There's so many different things where you can feel insecure and bad about because you just don't know whether or not it's good or not good or how people are going to perceive it. So it really can weigh on you quite a bit. And the list just kind of goes on with what all the musical things that you have to deal with. And then when you kind of step out of your shell in your career and begin working on developing it, you're going to encounter, and you might have already been experiencing, a whole new level of things that affect your mindset, from the business side of your career. Things like sharing posts on social media that people might not like or comment on, releasing music and having no one stream it, or, even playing shows to a small or no crowd. It's those kind of things. Doesn't speak volumes or anything about who you are as an artist or how good you are. It's just, where you're at in your career. In short, the path to becoming a full-time artist is going to be filled with a lot of negative experiences like this. And if you see any really super successful artists, they all have these trauma stories where it was just like, I went through this and I felt horrible and I felt like I was never going to be able to write again or play again. It's like, the Behind the Music series. It's just like, that's the kind of stuff that people go through. And it's those experiences that really make you question yourself, your ability as an artist, and the fact of whether or not you feel like you can actually ever really be successful at pursuing and being successful in your music career. So it's really a tough thing. And, from the mental standpoint, in my opinion, it's everything. you hear us on here a lot. We'll talk about certain things, and I'm probably always saying this is the most important thing, or this is the most important thing. They're all important because they all make up, um, you know, a part of your career that has to happen. All those things need, all those stars need to align. All these to dos need to be done for you to be successful. But what really kind of keeps you going from difficult experience and obstacle and challenges, in a positive way is your mindset. It's the glue that kind of keeps you together. So, the good news is that this is a common, having a negative mindset or feeling bad or feeling low or going through periods where you're not really feeling at your mental best is common for every artist and band. And even anyone that's kind of going through life in general has those things. But when we're talking about a music career and being successful, the musicians that do reach success are the ones that have learned to overcome these negative periods and maintain a positive mindset. So, to help you with this premise, we've created a list of 4 things that you can do to help you stay in a positive mindset. And I'm going to go through them now as soon as I have a sip of my tea. That way I don't choke and gasp for air as I'm going through this. All right. So, the very first tip that we have for you is always look at the glass as being half full. I'm going to say that again without kind of stumbling over it. Always look at the glass as half full. Now, this might sound like a bit of a cliche because it's such a common saying that people talk about all the time. But when you really commit yourself to this kind of mindset, it's an extremely powerful tool. I personally believe there are no good or bad things in life. There are only things and the way that we interpret them. And I also believe that everything happens for a reason. Now, of course, when someone dies or something really traumatic happens, in your life, it's hard to say that those things aren't bad things because, of course, they're going to have a negative impact and make you feel horrible. That being said, when I look back at some of the worst experiences in my life, there's always been something good that has come out of it. And it might take a month. It could take, a year. But at some point in time, looking back and I can say, wow, that if I didn't go through that, as horrible as that was, it really came out for the best. Now, when the pandemic hit, is probably the most recent thing that we've all kind of experienced from a negative standpoint. But from a music standpoint, when the pandemic hit, live shows had stopped. So many artists and bands and were just having a major problem with their career because they couldn't go out and play live shows. And we had a lot of people asking us whether we thought the industry would bounce back and if musicians could ever recover from this. Now, although the pandemic represented a major challenge to musicians, we personally believed that it also represented a great opportunity because we approached this situation with that glass half full mentality. And the time in isolation and the closing of live venues, whereas not great and definitely makes things difficult, we looked at it and we advised our members to look at it as an opportunity to work on developing their online businesses and develop things like their live stream show. And you saw a lot of that with people hopping online and starting that whole Zoom show concert, which if you really kind of get into the live stream show, has a lot more benefits than playing the typical club gig. There's far less overhead costs. You're able to reach a wider audience. You can collaborate with a ton of other musicians. But to make that something that's beneficial to you, you have to really go after and pursue it. But it can be a much more positive experience. I also heard when the pandemic first hit, I read some sort of post that someone was saying, oh man, my gig just got canceled. I just saved myself $150. And I giggled at it because it's true. Like a lot of artists will pay more for their gig than they're making in return. And that really, in my mind, just emphasized, the problem and the disconnect with what people were going through as artists before the pandemic. It wasn't great. So, you have to really look at things from a very positive mindset. Now, TJ's and my own personal pandemic experience was we had just released the newest version of our online program, which sold next to nothing because everybody was out of work. And when you put that much time and effort into creating something, just like you do with your music, it was really discouraging. But did we mope about it and complain about it? And well, maybe a little bit because it did suck. But overall, what we did is we chose to use that time to help our current members, the people that did sign up. By having group support sessions and donating our time to one-on-one coaching. And what we really did was just like, hey, it is what it is. We can survive this, but let's take this time and make it for the best. Let's, really get to know our current members. Let's donate our time, and we don't have to charge them for these things. We can work for them for free for, through the pandemic, help them out a little bit, and really kind of just go through that process together. And, as much as it might have started off not great with us not being able to sell our program, we did develop a much stronger bond with our members. It showed us, that these personal connections that we built, we really needed to add these kind of personal elements into our program a lot more. And it made everything in the long run, although didn't start off great, it made it better, and it made our program better. It made us better as coaches. So you have to really look at things in every, as a good thing in every situation, even when things seem to be at their darkest, and have faith that no matter what, life has a tendency to throw at you, that you're going to be able to overcome it and turn it into something positive. You need to believe in yourself, because you can handle whatever the universal world or, life throws at you. You just need to have the resilience and go after it and not quit. Okay. Now the second tip is you want to get support from your fellow musicians. Now, it's important to surround yourself when going and pursuing a music career with people that understand exactly what you're going through and that can support you when times get tough. And this means having your very own musician support group. It could be a couple musicians, it could be 50 musicians, whatever. But it's really important to have those people around you, because if it's just family and friends, they don't really understand what you're going through. Now, using myself as an example, when I was first again pursuing my music career, I was in a class that met every Saturday for 4 hours, each week, and the class was filled with other musicians that shared my goals. And that were encountering a lot of the same obstacles and challenges in their career that I was doing. And having that network of people around me and gaining their support was absolutely invaluable and got me through a lot of difficult times in my career. And even though I'm no longer part of that group anymore, that class, the bond that I formed with those people lasts to this day. We just had our most recent reunion, and we're still there to support each other when people have a new show or releases coming up, or they have a question about something. Like, we all kind of band together, and you need that kind of support when you're pursuing your career. Now, the third thing that we recommend is working with a mentor. A mentor not only provides support and helps you kind of stay positive, but they also guide you past some of the common obstacles that may hurt your career, that a lot of musicians typically encounter. Again, to use my class as an example, the woman that ran the class was an amazing woman her name was Ann Ruckert, and Ann literally changed the entire course of my life. The career I have right now is due to her and her support. But during my time working with her, not only did she provide me with the guidance and knowledge that I needed, but she also spent quite a bit of time keeping me in a positive mindset. Now, that's not to say that every so often she wouldn't yell at me if I was doing something wrong, or if I wasn't really pushing myself, or maybe I was, doing something that like she just disagreed with. But everything that she said or did had a reason behind it. And, even if I didn't fully grasp it at the time, years later or months later, if something would happen, I'd be like, oh, I would have that aha moment. That's why she did that for me for. It would make me feel better. And it was really something that helped me, progress through the early part of my, career, which is the toughest, because that's when you really had the least amount of confidence in yourself and in what you're doing. So I find, again, mentors are extremely valuable, not only because, again, they help you maintain that positive mindset, but also because they steer you away from negative situations that might create that negative mindset. Okay, which brings us to our final piece of advice, which is we recommend creating specific career goals and to-do lists for achieving those goals. Now, having clear goals when you're pursuing your music career will give you direction, while having to-do lists and kind of crossing those things off will give you a sense of accomplishment. Like, each and every day you feel like you're doing something to move towards your overall goal, and you're working to better yourself and better your career. Now, this is important because one of the most common negative feelings that a musician has is the feeling that they aren't progressing in their career. And, having that kind of vision for your future by setting specific goals is extremely important, because it allows you to know what you have to do in your current day to get you to where you want to go. And it stops you from being scattered and unproductive. And again, just by checking off stuff off your to-do list, you can say, you know what? Hey, I didn't do a million things today, but I did that one thing, and that's going to help me do this in the future, or moves me one step closer to accomplishing this. So, it's really important that you do all these kind of things to kind of keep yourself focused and in a really good headspace. So, those are our 4 tips for how to maintain a positive mindset when you're pursuing a music career. Now, it doesn't matter how you go about addressing the emotional aspects of being an artist. Just be sure that you do, because it's crucial to your success and your happiness. And we want to see you be successful, and you deserve to do it. You put all that time in with your music and all the tough time and stuff with your business. You deserve success as a result of your hard work. So just make sure you do everything you can to kind of keep yourself feeling good. All right, so that's going to be our show. Everyone, in the meantime, enjoy your day. Remember that we're always here to help you should you need it. Thanks for watching. If you need help planning out your music career, schedule a call to speak with us today. Or you can enroll in our free program called Developing Your Business Plan. The link for both can be found in the description below. And please don't forget to subscribe. Your support really matters and helps us a lot, and we appreciate it. Have a great day.